It was a gloomy night when I first stumbled upon the Whispering Marketplace. I had heard rumors of its existence, whispers of a place where the darkest desires and forbidden trades were conducted in the shadows of the internet. Intrigued by the mystique that surrounded it, I decided to venture into the abyss armed with a VPN and Tor browser to explore what lay beyond the surface web. The journey into the dark web was treacherous. I felt a sense of unease creeping over me as I navigated through the labyrinthine maze of cryptic URLs. Every click of the mouse felt like a step deeper into a realm where the laws of society held no sway. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, I found myself on a web page with a simple black background and crimson text that read, "Welcome to the Whispering Marketplace." As I entered the marketplace, I was greeted by a haunting silence. There were no flashy advertisements, no pop-ups, just a list of categories that ranged from the bizarre to the macabre. Drugs, weapons, stolen data, and even more sinister things were on offer. It was a digital den of iniquity where anonymity reigned supreme. I decided to explore the oddities category, driven by morbid curiosity. Clicking on it, I found a list of items that defied explanation. A jar containing what appeared to be a preserved human heart, a taxidermy collection of mythical creatures, and even a cursed mirror that promised to show the deepest fears of whoever gazed into it. The descriptions were eerily detailed, and the prices, though exorbitant, tempted me to venture further. After hours of browsing, I stumbled upon a listing that stood out from the rest. It was simply titled, "Whispers of the Abyss." Intrigued and unable to resist, I clicked on it. The page loaded slowly, revealing a cryptic message. To hear the whispers of the abyss, you must make a sacrifice, no questions, no regrets. Without fully comprehending the implications, I clicked the purchase button. A wave of dread washed over me as I entered my payment information. Moments later, a confirmation message appeared. "Your order has been placed. Await further instructions." I sat back, wondering if I had just made a terrible mistake. My heart raced as I contemplated what sacrifice meant in this context. Was I about to be drawn into a malevolent pact with forces beyond my comprehension? The room grew colder, and the hum of my computer seemed to resonate with a sinister energy. Days turned into weeks, and I had almost forgotten about the Whispering Marketplace when an email arrived in my inbox. It was a single line. "The time has come. Prepare for the ritual." Fear gnawed at me as I contemplated the gravity of what I had gotten myself into. I had no choice but to comply. The email contained a list of instructions and a date. It was to take place at an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town, far from prying eyes. The night of the ritual arrived, and I found myself standing outside the decrepit warehouse. The moon was shrouded in ominous clouds, casting an eerie pallor over the scene. I entered the dimly lit interior and followed a trail of crimson candles that led deeper into the building. In the heart of the warehouse, I encountered a sinister tableau. Hooded figures stood in a circle, chanting in a language I could not comprehend. In the center, a pedestal held a small, ornate box. My heart pounded as I approached it, knowing that my fate was inexorably linked to whatever lay inside. With trembling hands, I opened the box to reveal a small, ancient-looking vial filled with a dark, viscous liquid. The figures fell silent as I held it aloft, their eyes burning with anticipation. I knew what I had to do. The liquid tasted like despair, and as it coursed through my veins, I felt a darkness descend upon me. Whispers, faint and incomprehensible, filled my mind. They were the voices of lost souls, the echoes of the damned. They spoke of secrets, forbidden knowledge, and the darkest desires of humanity. I saw visions of unspeakable horrors and glimpses into the abyss itself. The weight of the knowledge I had gained threatened to crush my sanity. I had crossed a line from which there was no return. As I stumbled out of the warehouse, the hooded figures faded into the darkness. I knew I was forever marked by the Whispering Marketplace. The whispers would haunt my dreams, and the darkness would forever be my companion. In the days that followed, I tried to forget the horrors I had witnessed, but they lingered in the corners of my mind, waiting to resurface. I knew I had delved too deep into the abyss, and it had left its mark on my soul. The Whispering Marketplace had shown me the depths of human depravity, and I had paid a terrible price for my curiosity. As I sit in the shadows of my own existence, haunted by the whispers of the abyss, I can only hope that my tale serves as a warning to those who would venture into the darkest corners of the internet. Some secrets are best left buried, and some sacrifices are too great to make. My name is Dr. Victor Steele, and I never thought I'd find myself in this dark, twisted world of the internet, catering to the most desperate of souls. It all began innocently enough. I was a skilled surgeon with a prestigious career and a seemingly perfect life, until the day I received a message on the encrypted network. At first, it was just a harmless curiosity, the allure of the forbidden. The dark web was a place I'd only heard whispered about in hushed tones among colleagues. It was a realm where anonymity reigned supreme, and the depths of human depravity were on full display. But I was naive, and curiosity got the better of me. The message was simple yet cryptic. In need of a miracle, payment is no object. Can you help? Intrigued and somewhat flattered by the request, I responded, cautiously agreeing to discuss the matter further. Little did I know that my life was about to spiral into a twisted abyss. The person on the other end of the conversation introduced themselves as Mr. X. They remained anonymous, communicating only through encrypted messages and ensuring I knew nothing about them except for their dire need. They claimed to be suffering from a rare and fatal condition, one that conventional medicine had deemed incurable. The dark web had its own set of ethics, a macabre code of conduct, and Mr. X was willing to offer an exorbitant sum in exchange for my services. It wasn't just about money. It was about the thrill of the forbidden and the challenge of saving a life when all seemed lost. Our correspondence progressed quickly, and I found myself navigating a labyrinth of encrypted channels, hidden forums, and shadowy transactions. I ordered specialized medical equipment, sourced experimental drugs, and enlisted the help of an underground network of professionals who had their own dark secrets. Months passed, and as I delved deeper into this underground world, I began to question my own morality. I was no longer the respected doctor I once was. Instead, I had become a black market surgeon, conducting risky, unapproved procedures in secret, all in the name of saving a single life. The night of the operation arrived, cloaked in secrecy and fear. In a dimly lit, abandoned warehouse, I prepped Mr. X for surgery. My hands trembled as I looked into their eyes filled with hope and desperation. I realized that I had become the monster I'd once only heard stories about on the dark web. As I performed the risky, life-altering procedure, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was tampering with forces beyond my control. The surgery was successful, and Mr. X's condition seemed to improve. But the guilt and paranoia consumed me. I had crossed a line that should never have been crossed. The dark web didn't forget, and it didn't forgive. I was haunted by my actions, constantly looking over my shoulder, fearing retribution from the shadows. My life spiraled into a paranoid nightmare, and I became a prisoner of my own actions. Then one day I received another message. The sender remained anonymous, but the words were clear and chilling. "You can never escape the darkness, Dr. Steele." Panic surged through my veins as I realized that my actions had consequences, and the dark web had a long memory. I tried to cut ties with the underground network, to erase any trace of my involvement in the world of black market medicine. But the dark web was relentless. Threats arrived at my doorstep, warning me that I could never truly escape the darkness I had willingly embraced. In a desperate attempt to flee my past, I packed my bags and disappeared, leaving behind my prestigious career, my home, and my identity. I became a nomad, constantly on the move, always looking over my shoulder, haunted by the ghosts of my own actions. Years passed, and I thought I had finally left the dark web behind. But the past has a way of catching up with you, and in a cruel twist of fate, I found myself facing a diagnosis of my own, a terminal illness, just like Mr. X had once claimed to have. As I lay in my hospital bed, reflecting on my life, I realized the full extent of the darkness that had consumed me. I had ventured into the depths of the human soul, and it had cost me everything. I had become the monster, and there was no escape from the darkness. In the end, I was left with the bitter realization that, in my pursuit of saving a life, I had sacrificed my own. The dark web had claimed me as one of its own, and there was no redemption, no forgiveness, only an eternal descent into the abyss. It all started with curiosity, as most terrible things do. I'd always been fascinated by the dark corners of the internet, the places where the shadows danced and secrets whispered. The forbidden allure of the dark web had drawn me in like a moth to a flame, and I couldn't resist the temptation any longer. Late one night, when the world was asleep and the only sounds were the soft hum of my computer and the occasional passing car, I ventured into the abyss. The Tor browser, a virtual mask for my digital identity, was my portal to the hidden depths of the internet. I had read enough cautionary tales to know the risks, but my desire to explore the unknown outweighed any sense of fear. The dark web was a labyrinthine maze of links and forums, a digital underworld where anonymity reigned supreme. It didn't take long for me to stumble upon a peculiar website with a cryptic name, The Whispers of the Abyss. The homepage displayed a black background adorned with red text that seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. Intrigued and slightly unnerved, I clicked on the link, and the page loaded with agonizing slowness. What I found was a forum, unlike any I had seen before. The threads were filled with cryptic messages, coded language, and strange symbols. Users communicated through aliases like Darkscribe and Cryptic Wanderer. It was as if I had entered a secret society of the internet, one that spoke a language of shadows. One thread in particular caught my attention. Its title was The Echoes of the Forgotten, and it promised to reveal hidden truths and forbidden knowledge. Without hesitation, I clicked on it. The thread was filled with stories that defied explanation, tales of encounters with the supernatural, and eerie photographs that sent shivers down my spine. One user, going by the name Abyss Watcher, claimed to have witnessed a ritual that transcended the boundaries of reality. They described a gathering in a remote forest, cloaked figures in tattered robes, and a dark presence that defied description. The details were chillingly vivid, and I couldn't help but question their authenticity. As I delved deeper into the thread, I received a private message from an anonymous user. The message simply read, "You seek the truth, do you not?" Intrigued yet cautious, I replied, "Yes, I do." The response was swift, and it sent a cold chill down my spine. "Meet me in the shadows of the abyss, tonight, midnight." The message came with coordinates and a cryptic instruction to bring a candle and a photograph of a loved one. My heart raced as I considered the proposition. It was madness, but the allure of the unknown was too strong to resist. I made preparations, told no one of my plans, and waited for the witching hour to approach. Midnight came, and I found myself in a desolate forest, the moonlight casting eerie shadows on the twisted trees. The air was thick with an otherworldly presence, and a sense of foreboding weighed heavily on my chest. Holding the candle and the photograph, I followed the coordinates deeper into the woods. Soon I stumbled upon a clearing bathed in an unnatural glow. A circle of cloaked figures, their faces hidden in the darkness of their hoods, surrounded a swirling vortex of shadow and mist. They chanted in an ancient tongue, their voices like a chorus of the damned. My heart pounded in my chest as I realized that I had stumbled upon something beyond my comprehension. I wanted to run, to escape this nightmare, but a strange compulsion kept me rooted to the spot. I couldn't tear my eyes away from the vortex. As the chanting grew louder, the vortex began to take shape, forming a grotesque figure that seemed to be composed of pure darkness. It stretched out its shadowy hand towards me, and I instinctively held out the photograph of my loved one. The figure's voice echoed in my mind, a sinister whisper that promised knowledge and power. It offered me the answers to all the questions I had ever had, the forbidden secrets of the universe. All I had to do was take its hand. But in that moment, a rush of fear and clarity washed over me. I dropped the photograph and blew out the candle. The figure let out a deafening scream, and the cloaked figures vanished into the night. The vortex collapsed in on itself, leaving behind nothing but an eerie silence. I stumbled out of the forest, my mind reeling from the horrors I had witnessed. The dark web had led me to a place of unimaginable terror, and I knew that I had narrowly escaped a fate worse than death. As I returned to the safety of my computer, I couldn't help but wonder how many others had been lured into the abyss, never to return. The dark web had shown me the true depths of human darkness, and I knew that I could never venture into those shadows again. Some secrets were better left buried in the abyss, for the price of knowledge could be far too high. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.